Bitter criticism back on the studio. It's been a long time during the day because so much better doing this show, this craziness on the bus. I mean, it's better to do something on the bus, not being all the time there, sad, boring, you know. Without internet, with or without internet. As you can see, internet is not the solution. Back in Brazil, there was a philosopher, Marcia Tiburi, who now looks like she's a designer. His latest book is about design, called something design something. What about that? She's my colleague, I guess. She's my fellow designer colleague. Well, and today it's too windy for the inauguration of a plaque, I don't know, of a chart. I said chart. I don't know. I don't speak English actually. I'm just trying to speak English, you know. I don't know what's the name of this thing here. My top four geopolitical analysts: Timur Fomenko, Pepe Escobar, Bloody Blankenship, Fyodor Lukyanov. Good names over there. Well done, Timur, Fyodor. Do you prefer be called Fyodor or Lukyanov? Huh? Well, today we have a terrible Antarctic fog. Look, this is an Antarctic weather. It's the South Pole for sure. And my dogs are free again. All right. I guess it's fine, yeah. So here we go again. A little stones for my babies. My babies will get stoned. Fyodor Lukyanov, May 9. I just read that. Well, I'm just gonna read a little bit just to show the plate. Well, this ranking is just to tell you. I have a new geopolitical analyst, which is Fyodor Lukyanov. Maybe Lukyanov, but who knows? Fyodor Lukyanov, May 9 May 2024, Home World News. This is the question that could ultimately destroy EU-US unity. That you saw, Mursi. Western Europeans broadly see China as an opportunity, but Washington sees it as a threat. This has major geopolitical consequences. I'm gonna read this article again. Fyodor Lukyanov, the editor-in-chief of Russian in Global Affairs, chairman of the Presidium of the Council on Foreign and Defense Policy, and research director of the Valdai International Discussion Club. We have a photograph. Chinese President Xi Jinping speaks during a toast at at an official state dinner as part of the Chinese president's 2-day state visit to France. At the Élysée Palace in Paris on May 6, 2024. Chinese President Xi Jinping is traveling in Europe for the first time in 5 years. His choice of capital is calibrated. Fourth was Paris, where French President Emmanuel Macron, who claims political leadership of the western side of the continent, was joined by European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Together with Macron, she was in Beijing last year. Then there was Budapest and Belgrade, two European countries, one in the European Union, the other outside, that are showing an increased willingness to cooperate with Beijing. China's relations with Western Europe are one of the most interesting issues in contemporary world politics. Their view of the EU differs from that of Russia. Moscow has long since come to the conclusion that the old world has completely abandoned its independent foreign policy, caused by aligning itself with the US. Brussels, Berlin, Paris, Helsinki, and others seem not to be deterred by consequences for their own prosperity and influence. I guess I didn't read this. It's going fine. Beijing, however, believes that the EU will not give up its autonomy, even if its dependence on American strategy grows. In other words, China thinks that a precise and active policy can create a series of incentives for Western Europeans that will slow down their drift toward the US, and accordingly it will limit the bloc's participation in a possible future military political confrontation between Washington and Beijing. The research question, as they say in academic papers, is clear. Is the collective West a solid and sustainable union, or is the unity achieved so far more flimsy? Camouflaging a grow divergence of interest. The US sees China as a strategic rival for decades to come. Meanwhile, the EU doesn't see it as a direct threat, although it is wary of Beijing's growing power, including in European region. The US sees Russia as a direct threat to European stability, but not as a serious threat to itself. But of course, Western Europe is very afraid of Russia, and this fear is growing, leading to speculation about a variety of scenarios. At the same time, the US needs Western Europe for its strategy of containing China. First, in the economic and technological sense, the EU should not develop cooperation with China in areas where the US wants to limit Beijing. Currently, the bloc needs the US to contain Russia in the military and military technical sense. There are discussions about building up the EU's own capabilities. But firstly, they are rather abstract and secondly, the process will take years. There is already an awareness of Western Europe's over dependence on America, but there is no way to solve the problem, and this is pushing the whole world to try to keep Washington as close as possible. I'm gonna listen myself this and pay attention, because you know I'm just thinking about my daily time, my daily days. Or maybe Fyodor Lukyanov was not so good at that time. May 9. Here we criticize geopolitical analysts, especially geopolitical analysts. Sometimes we read garbage like Hack Spirit. I'm sorry, like CNBC, like Harvard Review, Yale, anything, magazines. I never like it, but Facebook showed them to me because of Western, of West. China is guided by the logic of economic paradigm. Why should the EU reduce its own capabilities? Indeed, for the last 3 years or 4 decades, the bloc has dominated the world, and China has been its main beneficiary, transforming itself from a poor and backward country into a contender for world domination. Now, however, the logic of strategic competition is coming to the fore, and market profits is becoming a casualty. Yeah, that's a very good statement. Look, I'm gonna read it again. Now, however, the logic of strategic competition is coming to the fore, and market profits is becoming a casualty. I don't know exactly what is the fore right here. Look, and this is my Motorola prehistoric cell phone. Is working. Thank you, United States of America. Look, thank you for the Motorola Pocket cell phone. Look, it's very small. I have a very small hand, but this is smaller. Look, and well, and my camera is a Huawei cell phone. So here we are. I don't know. We are criticizing everything. My another Huawei cell phone just broke down. It was terrible for me. But anyway, but China has its own reasons from Beijing's point of view. The general direction of global development is towards economic interdependence, and the need for everyone to expand the space for such relations. The renaissance of blocs, reminiscent of the Cold War, is not a prototype for the future of politics, but a reversion to the past, a rearguard action of the 20th century. In fact, the rivals of the time, Washington and Moscow, are trying to finish a game that didn't end with a formalized result at the turn of the 80s and 90s. China is very afraid of being drowned into this process, believing not unreasonably that the side that avoids costly and in any sense of the word conflicts will benefit most. This is a Russian guy, but I don't agree with what they just said. I guess Russia is peaceful. I guess Russia is peaceful, and I guess Russia Today is always saying that. Russia Today is always saying that Russia was trying to be friend with Europe, you know. Well, it got nothing to do with Russia. Russia what? Russia violence, Russia prepotence, you know. I guess this time, but I guess in the end we'll say Fyodor Lukyanov is nobody. I guess that will gonna say Russia today will say that cover message, this newspaper cover message. This guy's nobody, you know. This is just a crazy. We are published there because of pity. That's what they always say. Anyway, that's what they always say in polemic issues. In fact, the rivals of the time, Washington and Moscow, are trying to finish a game that didn't end with a formalized result. As the turn of the 80s and 90s, China is very afraid of being drowned into this process, believing not unreasonably that the side that avoids costly, in any sense of the word, conflicts will benefit most. Hence China's cautions stance on the Ukraine issue. Beijing firmly avoids criticizing Russia and express understanding for the reasons that prompted the military operation. However, it does not express direct support and treads very carefully so as not to give Washington an excuse to impose sanctions on its companies for violating the Western embargo on Russia. We should not expect a different position from Beijing, and it is even possible that the rhetoric about the need for a peaceful end to the conflict will intensify. A certain indicator will be the conference on Ukraine, initiated by Kiev, to be convened in Switzerland next month. The presence or absence of the Chinese will give it a different tone. Indeed, this is clearly what the organizers themselves believe. Whether China will be able to weather the current storms to gain even more weight on the world stage remains to be seen. The same is true for the US, although much will depend on the outcome of the November elections. Putin and Xi Jinping will have much to discuss when they meet, apparently next week. This article was first published by Rossiyskaya Gazeta newspaper, translated and edited by Russia Today team. So Russia is backing Fyodor Lukyanov by saying Russia wants to win over the United States of America. I have a Facebook account, Erik Monvan, inspired in a Norwegian model. I want to be Norwegian. Definitely, I'm a wannabe. And there I got friends from the United States, some punk rockers, some punk friends. I published someone showed someone, I don't remember this word they use. Someone exposed a fascist, and I comment on the post. You know, wokeism is worse than Nazism because I don't know, because they, and I comment something on the someone replied to me and I reply again. Someone says, well, I don't know, I'm a wokeist, and I said, well, wokeists are always fighting. Wokeists are always finding ghosts, like sexual rights for animals, you know, like Tommy over there. Tommy, do you want to be gay? Tommy, Milu, do you want to be gay? Milu is gay. Look, Milu is gay and he's happy, and I don't care. But wokeist people will complain about it. Will make a whole symposium about Milu being gay or not being gay, understand? So they lost their time, they lost their lives discussing bullshit. Wokeism in the United States of America is full of wokeists. That's the question. And well, Russia is so much poorer than the United States, but they are full of Lukyanov people, you know. Lukyanov, Timur Fomenko. What about them, you know? They want to fight. They want to. If America won't fight them, they will fight back, you know. They are dealing with Russian people. It's not anything, you know. Russian people, they have guts. Anyway, so I'm gonna jump. Yesterday this was Fyodor Lukyanov. So goodbye, Fyodor. Thank you. Welcome to the team. You will be the drummer. So today we had a drum solo. I was reading this Erdogan news, but now I'm gonna read some crazy news. Japan to study UFO threat. May 30. Homeworld News 2024. Lawmakers plan to form a cross-party panel to probe potentially dangerous unidentified anomalous phenomena. A 3D rendering of UFO flying above Mount Fuji in Japan. What? Japanese lawmakers are planning to establish a bipartisan group within the country's parliament diet, aiming to change the government's approach to investigating sightings of unidentified anomalous phenomena. UAP, the formal term for what were previously described as UFOs. UAP, Japanese media reported this week. The girls. Japanese lawmakers are, anyway, according to reports citing the panel's founding statement, it will be called the Diet Members League for Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena. Clarification from a national security perspective. The group's members believe some UAPs could be weapons or spy drones that use advanced technology, and many therefore pose a threat to national security, local media says. The group reportedly plans to push for parliamentary legislation aimed at tracking and probing UAPs. At a press briefing on Friday, Japanese Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi confirmed lawmakers' plans to establish the panel. The work of the group will officially start on June 6. The date of its founding meeting. The panel will reportedly include a number of senior Japanese politicians, including Yasukazu Hamada, the head of parliamentary affairs for the ruling Liberal Democratic Party, Shinjiro Koizumi, the former environment minister, and an ex-defense minister, Shigeru Ishiba. Well, it's all about drones nowadays, but I swear I saw a UFO back in the 90s when there was no drones whatsoever. Do you believe I saw a UFO? Do you believe I'm saying that? Definitely, I'm a UFO guy. So, home business news. Here's why America's usual approach isn't working in Ukraine. By Henry Johnston. Do you want to be my fifth columnist? In a nation dominated by Wall Street, the strategy employed for combating financial crisis has seeped into other policymaker realms. You know what I thought? I thought about what's the usual approach of Americas. What is just war, a proxy war? By Henry Johnston, a Moscow-based Russia Today editor who worked in finance for over a decade. We have a photograph. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and VP Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, hold a Ukrainian flag given to them by Vladimir Zelensky. I guess this flag was signed by a lot of crazy people. The recent startling advance of Russian forces in northeastern Ukraine has dampened quite a bit of the enthusiasm in the pro-Kiev camp following passage in the US Congress of the supplemental aid bill in April. The febrile intensity with which supporters pleaded for the Ukraine aid and the exaggerated importance they assigned to it now seem a distant memory. What is now clear than ever is that Ukraine's unraveling war effort cannot be fixed by simply switching the spigot of Western aid back on. I didn't got that, but anyway, so I don't know what is spigot. Oh, look, SPIGOT, spigot, switching the spigot of Western aid back on. Why did the Washington establishment treat the 60 billion figure as some kind of indication that could ward off the looming crisis? After all, much of the money won't even end up going to Ukraine, but will rather be spent to restock the depleted domestic armory. This was in fact one of the key selling points of the bill, an economic boost at home, but greasing the wheels of the US lumbering defense industry won't do anything for Ukraine's belligerent army anytime soon. Even after a Herculean effort to ramp up production, the US now produces 28,155 million artillery rounds per month, not all of which can even be sent to Ukraine. Russia produces about to 250,000 per month and fires on average 10,000 rounds per day. So Russia is winning the. I don't understand details about war, because I never saw war, and that doesn't even address Kiev's catastrophic manpower shortage and endemic corruption, both of which have been laid bare by Russia's recent advances. Kiev is having to play an ever more desperate game of whack-a-mole in deploying its tattered and stretching team forces to hold the front together, while the lack of fortifications around Kharkov are being blamed, even in the Ukrainian media, on the long festering problem of corruption. So we come back to the question of why anybody believed $60 billion could move the needle for Kiev's cause in the first place. But this question is alas difficult to answer because policymaking in Washington is enshrouded under thick fog that consists of two dominant components: magical thinking and political imperatives. For those who earnestly believe that $60 billion will turn the tide of the war, it is more of the former. For those aligning themselves with the political winds and pretending to support Ukraine much as a mind pretends to be trapped in a phone boat, it is the latter. In any case, it is both, and it is difficult to tell where one begins and the other ends. I remember by listening some podcasts about war in Ukraine, and my podcaster says the real economy, all this money is just helicopter money, as Pepe Escobar always says, helicopter money, and well, Russia has a real economy. They don't care about dollars, of course, they are just producing weapons, that's it. I guess they have all the iron, all the minerals, of course the gas, they have the oil, of course. So that's why Russia is winning the war, because they are expending money, of course, but they are producing more because they have the natural resources. And well, people, they don't hate being Russian, I guess people should hate global south, like this country. They should hate the US, but all the fantasies, the fakery, by all the lies. We live in lies here in the global south, here in the south, in the western global south. Look at Tommy. Do you think Tommy is happy? All by himself over there. I'm gonna release you, Tommy, but not now. Wait a minute. Wait there. Wait a little more. Magical thinking is a recognizable symptom of that particular moment in time when an erstwhile, I don't know this word, erstwhile. Look, erstwhile. ERSTWHALE. Erstwhile great power is in decline, but events have not quite yet forced it to come to grips with that decline. It is also a time of diminished scope for action. In times past, perhaps Washington would would have solved a crisis such as Ukraine through crafty diplomacy, or orchestrated a formidable proxy war with its industrial might and military expertise. But the US now sees incapable of sophisticated diplomacy, and its industrial base has badly atrophied through decades of offshoring and financialization. Yeah, this guy could be my fifth panelist, my fifth analyst. I don't remember him. His name is Henry Johnston. Look, Henry Johnston is not a martyr whatsoever. Not a martyr. But he writes pretty good. I'm gonna search what I just read. But the US now seems incapable of sophisticated diplomacy, and its industrial base has badly atrophied through decades of offshoring and financialization. That's what happened, I was listening a lot of podcasts about war, about Russian war, this Ukraine invasion, and I know that I've listened that Russia, I'm not playing with the dog anymore. Luna is just there. I'm sorry, Luna. Anyway, what I know is that the United States military, the United States military complex just produce weapons to make money, but these weapons, all these javelins, I don't know the details why these javelins, I guess they destroy the tanks, the Russian tanks. But I guess the Russian people, they have more missiles, That's the detail. I guess Russian army, they have more missiles. And well, the javelins, they are too expensive. There's no way to survive. I guess it's just like this. Well, if tanks are coming, you can shot javelins, but these javelins, they are, I don't know, they are beautiful, but they just work with tanks. And then with wherever the javelins are coming from, you just burn down them with anything, missiles, with artillery, and that's it. After mostly fighting insurgencies in recent times, it now has no idea how to fight a pure war. About all that, it can muster its aid bills with large dollar figures. If all you have is a hammer, the old saying goes, every problem looks like a nail. If all you have is a hammer, the old saying goes, every problem looks like a nail. If all you have left is a printing press for dollars, even every problem must be solved by an infusion of money. That's funny, helicopter money. Even if it's not entirely clear what that money can buy, definitely. So this is a lesson about economy, Money is just another. I want money, but I know what I can buy with money in a peaceful time in Chile, but money is just another merchandise, is another object. But anyway, I'm gonna try to read a little bit. But here we have stumbled onto something interesting. I believe in the omnipotence of money. Perhaps not a sincere belief. Are there any sincere beliefs in Washington? Let's think of it more as an ingrained pattern of thought for confronting a wide range of problems. In that sense, it is a framework suspiciously reminiscent of the approach used to combat financial crisis. It doesn't seem like so much of a stretch to imagine the very entire Ukraine aid discussion framed as something that has become very familiar in recent years, a financial bailout. A too big to fail financial institution called Ukraine is teetering on the edge of failure, and a bailout is needed. Although the bank is far away from the heart of Wall Street, there are fears of contagion. If this one fails, others will follow, and soon no bank anywhere will be safe. The bank's owners may be crooks, but that is not what is preoccupying policymakers. They are nervous about a spread that has suddenly moved against the bank. It is supposed to trade a 1-to-1, but has blown out to 1-to-10, the ratio of artillery fired by Ukraine and Russian forces. Shoving a $60 billion bailout into the bank should at least put out the fires and calm markets. Zoltan Pozsar, the legendary former Credit Suisse chief strategist, who needs no introduction in finance circles, made a fascinating observation on the topic of the reflexive response of throwing money at a problem. Pozsar was speaking narrowly about how a certain group of people approach a certain problem and has not talking about policy making, much less Ukraine. But his conclusion traces the contours of something deeper. I guess I'm done with this news, but it's going well. I'm guessing I'm gonna try to read on the bus. Yeah, it's too big, but it's going too fine. I definitely will read this on the bus. I guess this guy, this Swiss guy, Pepe Escobar, just comment about him. I'm just gonna read the headlines now. Hard to port. India defies Washington's pressure to deal with Iran. Political instability following President Raisi's death introduces uncertainty, yet there are strong indications that the Chabahar deal will continue to be a priority for Delhi and Tehran, despite scrutiny from the West. By Manish Vaid, Junior Fellow, Observer Research Foundation, with research interest in strategic energy insights and green transition. Next one. I guess it's time for Tommy. And I'm not doing my yoga since a long time. Home world news from Russia Today. How Iran's tragedy became food for the EU's political sharks. The helicopter crash that killed Ebrahim Raisi became a stage for European officials' rhetorical gymnastics. And that's it. I'm gonna try to do my yoga now, but right now I'm gonna release Tommy, which is urgent. Go, Tommy, go. It's urgent for him. And well, I'm not doing yoga for a long time, but somehow I'm not so bad. Maybe because I smoked weed. Maybe. I guess. Yeah. What a stoned commentary. But I smoked 3 days ago. I smoked just 3 times. The weed was kind of dry, toasted, and powdered. So I smoke like wheat powder, and since then, well, I will keep doing that. I will keep smoking very little, once a month, because I also start to forgetting things, like speaking in Spanish, I guess. No, but who knows? Spanish, what a. Anyway, I was watching a Wim Wenders movie from 2005, a movie about a cowboy actor, and I forgot what I was saying now. He was on Utah and Dakota, and there was a lot of Comanches over there. Well, the movie says something about the Comanches and how is a cowboy life. And well, a cowboy life is, he says that somebody somewhere there was a dialogue between himself. I guess he was his alter ego. The alter ego was an Asian trying to find the actor, and he says that he didn't like society because there's a lot of chaos, dirtiness, junkies, and like the Indians and Hispanic people, they try to combat that, but they got nothing from that.